Hello and welcome to this video, the second in this series, the Java course. This video will run through the fundamentals, or rather the things that you have to consider before you begin programming in Java. So it's Charles Mubanga here at Thriving Code. I want to start with the downloading of and installation of the JDK. So we'll run through these points right here: the downloading of the JDK, setting the path, the first program, and we'll look at the parts of the program where we'll break down the program that we'll review. Okay, so we'll also look at the keywords in Java. We'll also look at identifiers. Okay, so we have to head on to our browser. Okay, so here you just, in the search bar, okay, you just type download JDK, or you just search for oracle.com. So you'll be able to access the development kit at Oracle. Okay, so you click on the first download link, or the first link there. That's where we'll find our Java development kit. So the latest is Java Standard Edition 15. So when you scroll down here, you see a number of versions. You can still use them, like the Standard Edition 11, 8. I'm actually using 8. There's also 7 there. Okay, so it's not been removed. So the latest is 15. So if you want to go with 15, just head on here, click on JDK download, and then some licensing information for you there you have to read. Okay, and then scroll down here so that you download the file that is suitable to your machine. So we have the Linux here. Okay, so if you are running on Linux, you can download that. The Mac OS installer, if you are running on Mac, you can download the Windows. I'm running on Windows, so if you want, you can go for the zipped file or the installer file. So I'll click on installer. Then there's some accepting to do here. Click on accept. Then click on download JDK 15 for Windows, right? So I have the JDK running on my machine, so I don't have to go through this download process. So you can save it to your machine and just install it. Installation is quite simple. So just go with the default settings, accept, next everything, and then you get there. All right, so next we'll talk about setting the path. Right, so welcome to this slide. So setting the path, right? So that's the next thing, right? So how do you set the path? So when you download Java, you install it in your machine, it's running on your machine, you have to set the path, like for the class files and the home, the Java home, you need to specify that in your machine. So on Windows 8, first of all, we can check to see if Java is installed. So you just access your command prompt. Okay, so it's my command prompt, and I can just type here Java version. Okay, click enter. We have Java version 1.8.0 _201. So this is the version. It's actually 8. right? It's just 8. So I have Java 8 installed on my machine. So if I want to set the environmental variables, you have to come here on the Windows icon, click on System. Okay, click on System and head on to Advanced Settings. Then you click on Environment Variables. Then you have the Java class here. So if you just double tap it, you see the variable name as Java underscore class. So the directory is showing here, so you can read. It's actually saying Java is in my C drive. It's in drive C, program files, Java, JDK, and then the bin. So this is your directory for the class variable. So depending on where you specified for Java to be installed, so I installed Java in C. So it's the variable value is this. Okay, so it's actually here. Okay, we say File Explorer, and then we see C, right? And then in C, you go into program files, you go into Java, you go into JDK 1.8, and you go into bin. So here, that's where you find the Java tools, all right, that you use to even run your class files, like this Java here. Okay, the Java. So there are a lot of tools here, like the applet viewer. So you need to specify this. So you just Control C this directory and come here, you paste it as your variable value here, right? So that's why you are able to see this. Okay, so for the home, it's all the same. You just back a bit here. Okay, so you are in this folder now. This is the home, so you just Control C and then you paste it here. By doing this, you have set up your environment variables, and you can go straight to programming in Java. Okay, so let's look at what we'll do next. So next, we'll look at the first simple program in Java, right? So here in Sublime Text, I have this simple program, right? So this is a text editor, Sublime Text. It's free. You can just search for Sublime and then you get the link to the the website where you can get this too. Right, so you can use Notepad++. You have Atom, like this one right here. It's Atom. It's also a text editor. You can use it if you want. I like Sublime Text because it's lightweight, doesn't put too much pressure on your machine. Okay. So this is the first program that we'll look at, and we'll discuss this program. So we'll start with the top part. We are seeing these symbols right here, the / star. Okay, so this is just a comment, right? We'll get to look at this. So our program is beginning with public class, and then the name of the program is first program. So your Java program should look like this. Then we have a comment here, and then we have the main method here. So actually, these lines of code, these two, here, we'll just print these strings or these sentences that we see here. So it will print, this is my first Java program, and then it feels awesome will be followed. So if we head on to the prompt, command prompt, we'll see how we can actually run that file. So we cd the desktop, so we cd the YouTube folder, we cd call. Okay, so these are my folders on the desktop. So we cd YouTube basics. All right. Yeah, so cd basics. So when we say directory, we are able to see the files that are in this folder. So we have the presentation file here. Okay, we also have this Java file. We also have the first program.java, which is this, right? So let's do this. And what we have to do here is we need to compile the Java program. Okay, so it has to be compiled into a form that can be understood by your computer. So you cannot just run a file which is in this form, okay, with this extension .java. So your Java program should be compiled, and then you can be able to run it. So that directory we saw under the Java class, we were in the bin folder. So I showed you the Java 2 and the Java C. Okay, so they are, so by setting the environment variables, we can actually access those tools we saw in the bin from the command prompt. So we use this command, so Java C. So you should use this command for you to be able to compile a Java program. So we say first a tab, and then first Java first program.java, then you hit enter. So right there, okay, so it means our program has been compiled. When we say we check for the directory, we see that we have first program.class. So this is what will be read by our machine, right? It contains bytecode. Okay, so let's clear this up. So we say Java first tab, then we remove the class extension. So when we have a command like this, so like that, we can run our file. So when you hit enter, you have this text, right? This is my first Java program. It feels awesome. It really does feel awesome. Okay, so this is my first Java program. It feels awesome. We compiled our program and we ran it. So it's as simple as that. Okay, so now let's get to explain what, okay, we have an update there. Okay, so what this program actually is all about. So let's head on to our slide there. Okay, we go. Okay, so we go into full screen mode, and then let's look at some stuff. Okay, so the breakdown. Okay, so you've already seen Java C in use, in action. So this is the compiler, okay, as found in the JDK, right, that we installed on our machines. So we have Java interpreter. We used Java, like Java first program. So we code the interpreter to interpret our class file. Okay, so yeah, we can program, right? So now the public class first program. So our file, our program started like this. So you saw this public class. So what does the class? I'll start with the class keyword. So what does it mean? It actually defines a Java class. So Java class files, Java classes begin with the class keyword. Okay, so it means it's a keyword. It's a constraint. You have to use it for you to define a Java class. So the class definition begins with the curly brace. So we see here, you saw there that there was a curly brace. Also, it ends with a closing curly brace. So we saw this line. So this is a method, a comment, right? So it's saying that the main method for our class, it's telling you that the code below is the main method. Okay, so the above is a single line comment beginning with a double forward slash and ending with with the text that you want to put there. The second is we also have a multiple line comments that begin with a single forward slash and asterisk. So this is a delimiter that shows that this is a multiple line comment. So it also has to end with an asterisk and forward slash. So the third type of comment is the Java doc comments. So when you become a seasoned programmer, you'll be using Java docs. Okay, so it's for documentation, right? So you can actually write a number of sentences in your program, okay, so that in the future you can refer to those. And for other programmers who would like to look at your code, maybe you to look at your code, maybe for maintenance purposes, they can go through the comments that you had put, like what actually the code does, all right, or what actually your program is all about. So these are comments. So you can comment in your program, right? So the public static void main string, all right, opening bracket, closing, inside we have string. This is a data type. Okay, type string, meaning okay, we want to use to type sentence, text like sentences, right? So that is the data type string. This is our main method. So a program will start executing at this line. Okay, so public static void main, right? So this is the main method. So look at this stuff as well. The public keyword is an access modifier, meaning it determines how other programs can access members of that class, which is declared public. So members like variables, methods, and objects. So your class or your program should start with a public keyword, right? Or when you just begin by saying class, so it will still be considered by default as a public class, right? So public means a member can be accessed by code outside the class in which it is declared, right? So we'll look at access modifiers later, right, in this course. So the next thing is the main. This is actually the main method. So the method looks like this. So it's a function. So it looks like this, right? So it must be declared public. So methods also, most of the methods are public because, right? So since it must be called by code outside of the class when the program is started. So the main method, as are other methods, should be public, right? So the keyword static, right? So we are looking at this right here. So public, okay, meaning this main method should be accessed by other programs. So we should make it public. So we go to static right there. Okay, so static means or allows the main method to be called before an object of the class has been created, right? So we'll look at objects of a class and how to use objects in Java programming later on. So this is necessary because the Java virtual machine where everything happens, okay, so it's like a sandbox where the execution of the program compiling takes place. So the JVM calls the main method before any objects are created. All right. So we look at the void keyword. So simply it tells the compiler that the main method does not return a value. So methods return values. So there are methods that return values and methods that cannot return values. So we'll look at that later on. Okay, so you see that a method can actually return a value, right? So that's the void keyword. It means the main method does not return a value. So in the main, there is also a parameter. So this is the string args. Then these straight brackets, right? Indicating that this args, right, is an array. So you use these straight brackets to indicate that this variable is an array. An array is a collection of similar objects. So we can have, right, an array of integers, right, integer numbers, right, because they are similar objects. So in this case, we are saying this method contains the parameter which is of string type. So this method is capable of executing a number of string objects. Okay, so it's an array of object type string, all right, placed inside this main method. So the main method, all right, begins with this opening curly brace, and then ends with the closing, all right, curly brace. Okay, so you see, okay, the main, okay, when you see main like that, all right, and then it starts with this, all right, and ends with this, all right. So everything we saw was placed here. So that's the main method. Starts with the opening curly brace, just like our class started with the opening curly brace. So it signals the start of the main method's body, right? So we look at the system.out.println. So this is my first Java, which is a string being typed. So if you saw inside here, we had an array of string type. So meaning this program, this method is able to even execute strings, right? So let's look at what the println method is. So println, ln means new line, right? So the output is done by this method, the println, okay? It can also be used to print other types of information too. So system is a class. You can see it's even starting with a capital S. So even when you are writing you are naming your file, you're giving it a name, ensure that the first letter is a capital. So if the word, okay, if it has, for example, we had first program, so first was capital, program was also capital. That's just a standard in Java programming. So this is also a class if you look at it, right? So it's system. So, and out is the output stream that is connected to the console, like our command prompt console. So system.out is an object that encapsulates console output. So system.out has a number of activities taking place. Okay, there's code that is being invoked there inside system.out. Okay, it uses, okay, like the object system.out has a number of, like I said, activities taking place that enables us to view stuff on our console. So we should notice, when we notice that println statement ends with a semicolon, this is also a standard, okay, like this semicolon. So semicolon is an important part of the Java syntax. So one last point is that Java is case sensitive. Forgetting this will cause problems. So when we look at this main with capital M, is not the same as the main with small letter m. So don't make the mistake of not taking note of the case of your words in when you're programming Java. For example, when you are writing out your methods in your program. So even print ln with capital P is not the same as print ln with small letter p. So when you make that such a mistake, you experience compile time errors, meaning when you call upon the Java compiler, you have issues compiling your program. Okay, so let's go to the Java keywords. Right, so what are Java keywords? So these are words that have been reserved. Okay, you can't touch these words. For example, when you want to name your variables, right? Your classes, your methods. You cannot use these words right here in this table. There are 61 in total, and okay, we are being told here that beginning with Java JDK 9, even an underscore is considered as a keyword right here. So you can't even use an underscore as your variable name, for example. So if you look at them, there are quite a lot, 61 in total. So abstract, catch, do, final, implements, module, private, short, this, try, asset, char, which is character, double, finally, import, native, protected, static, throw, uses, boolean, class, else, float, instance of, new, provide, strict FP, throws, void, break, const, enum, for, int, open, public, super, to, volatile, byte, continue, exports, go to, interface, opens, requires, switch, transit, while, case, default, extends, all these are a lot, right? These you should consider as names that you cannot use as variable names or class names. Okay, so even an underscore, don't forget. So okay, there are also other keywords that have been reserved for future use, like the const. You cannot use, it's also a keyword. So the const, go to, are all reserved for the future. So meaning right now they are not in use. I don't know if they are being used in JDK 15, unless we check the specification documents on the Oracle website. Okay, so the other words are true, false, na, and var, starting with the JDK 10, which is Java 10. So var is also a keyword. So of course it can be nice to name your variable as var. So you say int var, but with Java JDK 10, that will cause some problems because var is a keyword. Okay, so identifiers. What are identifiers? They are just simply naming standards of your variables, methods. Okay, so especially variables. So these are all legal, they are okay. All right, you can start your variable with a capital T, like with a $sign, like sub. I don't know if it's sub, if you can read this. X underscore top, okay, y2 my dash var max capital load. So this can be, you see, like your class name, right? Even for your variable, it can work. Sample 23. So these are just standards. So you can use any name that you would want to give to your variable, but as long as it's maybe an X, or it's starting with an underscore, or it's in this form, right? We have a note here. An identifier or identifiers cannot start with a digit. So 12x is invalid in this case. So you cannot start your variable with a digit or a number, right? So let's go to the next. Okay, we don't have a next. We just have this slide. Thank you all for watching, and I would urge you to hit the subscribe button and the like button so that we can actually have this video even shared, or the algorithms make this video to reach other people who would like to know about what we've just discussed. So hit the subscribe button and the like button. Thank you. Until the next video.